Today we are going to deal with two important concepts of demand analysis, and that are variation in demand and changes in demand. This slide shows us variation in demand. When the demand for a commodity falls or rises due to a change in price alone and other factors remaining constant or remain constant, it is called variation in demand. So what is the meaning of these three lines? As we know that as the price falls down or rises, due to that demand rises or falls down, and that is considered as a variation in demand. Just due to fluctuations in price of the product, rest of the factors remaining constant here. If demand for that particular commodity rises or falls down, that is considered as a variation in demand. Variation in demand having two important concepts, and that two concepts are considered as a expansion of demand and contraction of demand. What is expansion of demand and what is contraction of demand? Expansion of demand refers to rise in quantity demanded due to fall in price alone, while other factors like taste, income of the consumer, size of population, etc. remain unchanged. In other words, we can say that only due to fall in price, if demand rises, other factor remaining constant, there is said to be expansion of demand. It means that, look at the board, suppose X is the product and price of X is, suppose the price is 10 rupee per unit. Due to when the price is 10, at that time demand is 100 units, okay, of commodity X. If the price falls down from 10 rupees to 2 rupee per unit due to reduction in price, if demand rises from 100 to near about 500 units, this is called expansion of demand due to just fall in price alone. If demand for the commodity rises, there is said to be expansion of demand. In case of expansion of demand, rest of the factors which usually determines the demand remains constant. So which factors usually determines the demand? Income, population, technology, taste, habit, preference, fashion, okay. Besides that customs, okay, prices of substitute goods, prices of complementary goods, number of factors are there. Climatic condition. If all these factors remaining constant, and at the same time if there is a reduction in price of the product, if demand rises, there is said to be expansion. So we can say that due to only fall in price, if demand rises, other factor remain constant, there is said to be expansion of demand, okay. So we will be able to understand this concept by taking into consideration this diagram. This diagram explains the expansion of demand here. In this diagram, y-axis represents price of the commodity in rupees, x-axis represents quantity demanded in kg. When the price is P, at that time Q units are demanded, OQ units are demanded. When the price is OP, at that time OQ units are demanded here. As the price falls down from OP to OP1, And due to that, demand has been increased here from OQ to OQ1. So it is happening just due to fall in price. So that is why we can say that due to just fall in price alone, if demand rises, there is said to be expansion of demand. In case of expansion of demand, demand moves downwards along with the same demand curve. Here, movement of demand from point A to point B represents expansion of demand. There is no need to draw another demand curve to explain or to represent expansion of demand. We can indicate expansion of demand on the same demand curve. Complete opposite to this, that is considered as a contraction of demand. Okay. What actually happens in case of contraction of demand? In case of contraction of demand, demand declines due to rise in price alone. Other factors usually remains constant in this case. Same thing in case of expansion of demand also. Rest of the factors which usually determines the demand, all that factors remains constant. In case of contraction of demand also, rest of the factors which determines the demand remains constant, but only one factor changes here, that is price of the product. As the price rises, and due to that, if the demand for the same product falls down, that is considered as a contraction of demand. In case of contraction of demand, due to increase in price level, if the quantity of the commodity demanded falls down, there is said to be contraction. So why it happens? What is the main cause of a reduction in demand for the commodity? So main thing is that as the price rises, due to that, purchasing capacity of the customer falls down, and if the purchasing capacity falls down, automatically he will not be able to purchase much more units of the same product, and due to that one, demand falls down, and that is why that is considered as a contraction of demand. According to Mr. Alfred Marshall, contraction of demand refers to a fall in demand due to rise in price alone. Other factors like taste, income of the consumer, size of population, etc. remain the constant. Don't think regarding just the three factors, taste, income. Okay, these are the main factors. Okay, the determinants of demand. Okay, income, population, taste, then technology, habit, preference, fashion, then climatic condition, prices of substitute goods, prices of complementary goods, government policy. Okay, all these factors, if remains the constant one, and at the same time if price of the product rises, due to that one, if the demand for the commodity falls down, there is said to be contraction of demand. Okay, we can easily indicate contraction of demand by drawing this diagram. We are having one the diagram in this slide. This diagram represents y-axis. In this diagram, y-axis represents price of the commodity X in rupees. X-axis represents quantity of commodity X in kg. When the price is P or OP, at that time OQ quantities are demanded. As the price rises from OP to OP2, okay, so that time demand falls down from OQ to OQ2. So this is considered as a contraction of demand. In the case of contraction of demand, demand moves upward along with the same demand curve. Movement of demand from B point to A point in this diagram represents contraction of demand. Okay, so these two important concepts usually explained by Dr. Alfred Marshall under the head of variation in demand. In case of variation in demand, demand changes due to just a change in price alone. Rest of the factors which usually determines the demand remains the constant one, and these two concepts are considered as a expansion and contraction. Okay, another thing is that besides these two, the second factor or second concept which is allied with this particular chapter, that is changes in demand. Keeping the price unchanged, if the rest of the factors changes, which usually determines the demand, like income, population, taste, habit, preference, fashion, custom, prices of substitute goods, prices of complementary goods, government policy, due to changes in all these factors, if demand changes, that is considered as a change in demand. If demand rises or falls down, if demand increases or decreases, there is considered as a changes in demand. Okay, we are having on this slide. This slide explains that when the demand for a commodity increases or decreases due to changes in other factors. So what other factors means? All these factors. Okay, the factors which usually determines the demand, that factors are considered as other factors here. Okay, due to other factors, price remains constant, it is known as changes in demand. Changes in demand having two important concepts: increase in demand and decrease in demand. What actually happens in case of increase in demand? Increase in demand refers to increasing quantity demanded due to favorable changes in other factors like taste, income of the customer, climatic conditions, etc., and price remains constant. Look at the board. What the increase in demand states as. Suppose price commodity X is that product X. Price of product X, P represent price and D represent demand for commodity X here. When the price is 10, at that time quantity of the commodity demanded is near about 20 units. Okay, if the price is 10 again, okay, there is no change in price level, price is constant. At the same price level, if quantity of the commodity demanded is 1000 units, 100 units, okay. We know that one price is very important factor which decides the level of demand. But what is going on in this example? Price of the product is the same one. There is no change in price, even if quantity of the commodity demanded is more. Right now the customer is going to purchase 100 units of commodity X at the same price level. Why this thing is happening here? Due to favorable changes in other factors. Suppose one factor changes, that is income. When the price is 10, at that time near about 20 units purchased by XY, SBJ person, it's me. Okay, when the price is 10, I am buying 20 units. At that time my income is 10,000. Okay, in the next month price of commodity X is 10. Right now I am buying near about 100 units. But why I am buying much more quantities in the next month? Because my income get changed here. Right now I am having 10 lakh rupee income per month. If there is a favorable change in income level, automatically that induces that particular person to buy much more quantities of the same product. And due to that one, if I am going to buy much more quantities of the same product, that is considered as an increase in demand in economics. So we can say that due to changes in other factor, if quantity of the commodity demanded rises, price remains constant here. Price never affects on demand. Price is constant due to favorable changes in rest of the factors which decides the demand. Due to that, if demand rises, there is said to be increase in demand. Income, positive change in income level, positive change in taste, habits, preference. If my preference towards a particular commodity remained favorable, so that time I will think to buy much more quantities of the same product, even if at the same level of income. I will definitely think to buy much more quantities of the same commodity due to change in taste, change in preference, okay, changes in fashion, okay, all these factors positively affects on the psychology of the customer, and that psychology creates demand for that particular commodity. And if due to that one, if that person is the number of customers, those who are living in the society, are willing to buy much more quantities of different commodities at the same price level due to changes, favorable changes in rest of the factors, that is considered as a increase in demand. Okay, another thing is that according to the several experts, that things are not mentioned in the textbook of HSC. According to the several experts, what is increase in demand? Increase in demand refers to at the same price level more quantities are demanded, or at a higher price level same quantities are demanded. That is also considered as an increase in demand. This one is a little bit difficult as compared to the previous one. Okay, but we should know regarding that also. Suppose this one is a demand curve. We know that one. Okay. What I stated one thing here, at the same price level, price is unchanged, more quantities are demanded. Okay. We know that one. A point and B point. Price is 10. Okay. Y axis represents price. X axis represents demand. Suppose price is 10, at that time 100 units I am buying. A point indicates the same thing. When the price is 10, 100 is the quantity demanded. Okay. Suppose here is no change in price. At the same price level, I am buying 200 units of commodity X due to favorable changes in other factors. This is also considered as an increase in demand, which is explained in this diagram. Look at the slide. Okay. But apart from this, we should know another thing also in detail. Okay. At a higher price level, same quantities are demanded. That is also considered as an increase in demand. Suppose price increase from 10 to 20. Okay. What actually happens if the price, according to the law of demand, if the price rises, demand for the commodity falls down, according to Dr. Alfred Marshall. But what is going on here in this case? At a higher price level also same quantities are that XYZ person is demanding. It means that that is also considered as an increase in demand. How it happens? Look at the board. Suppose we know that one. When the price is 10, at that time, how much quantities are demanded? 100. And when the price is 20, at that time also 100 units are demanded. Okay. Why? The same quantities the customer is willing to, or customer is able to buy here, because when the price is 20, it means here is a hike in price from 10 to 20. Even if that person is not going to change his demand is still the same one. It is happening at this time. Income is suppose 10,000, and at this time income is 1 lakh. Okay, it means that at the same time income of the customer increased here. When there is a upward movement in the price of the same commodity, that induces the person to purchase the same quantities of the commodity. He is able to buy the same quantities of the commodity. He never owned. He will be right now at this income level, he will be able to buy much more units of commodity X, more than 100 units, but he just want 100 units. Okay, at a higher price level also he is buying 100 units. It means here is a change in demand. Okay, at the higher price level, okay, same quantities are demanded. It means that law of demand is not going to activate here. Okay, at a higher price level, if the same quantities are demanded, that is also considered as a increase in demand. In case of increase in demand, demand curve shifts rightward to the original demand curve, that is D1, D1. Okay, in case of increase in demand, demand curve shifts rightward to the original one. Okay, it indicates that at a higher price level, more quantities are demanded, or at the same price level, less quantities are demanded. Okay, so we can say that to indicate increase in demand, there should be changes in other factors. The main cause of increasing demand is favorable changes in other factors which decides the demand. Okay, favorable changes in fashion, taste, preference, attitude. Okay, prices of substitute goods, prices of complementary goods, climatic condition, government policy, taxation policy, export import policy, all these things definitely affects on the psychology of the customer, and if the psychology remains in favor of the product, definitely he will think to buy much more quantities of the same product, and due to that one we can say that yes, if these are causing to purchase much more quantities of the same product, that is considered as an increase in demand in economics. Okay, another one, that is decrease in demand, completely opposite to this. Okay, it refers to decrease in quantity demanded due to unfavorable changes in other factors like taste, income of the consumer, climatic conditions, etc., and price remains constant. Okay, the same thing. Okay, rest of the factors means the factors which decides the level of income level. If remains a constant one, okay, price remains constant, and rest of the factors changes due to unfavorable changes in the rest of the factors. If demand falls down, there is said to be decrease in demand. Okay, like this. Okay, here what happened here, income remained favorable. Suppose, look at the board. Price is the same one. Okay, this diagram also explains the same thing. When the price is OP, at that time OQ quantities are demanded. Okay, if the price remains the same in OP, right now the customer is going to buy OQ2 quantities of the same product due to unfavorable changes in other factors. For example, we will explain that thing in detail. Suppose the price of a commodity is 10, at that time the quantity of the commodity demanded is 100 units. Okay, if the price of the product is also 10, right now the person is going to buy 50 units. Okay, the same thing is explained here. Okay, in the slide. It means that why right now the customer is buying just 50 units, even if here is no change in the price, because at the same time what is happening, one, the rest of the factors get changed here. Suppose income, at this level income is 10,000, and right now his income is 5,000. Okay, due to reduction in income level, his purchasing capacity declined. At the same price level, right now he is buying just 50 units. Okay, or another one, income is the same one. Suppose 10,000 is income. Now he is not willing to consume much more quantities of commodity X. He dislikes this product. Right now his preference got changed. He never want to consume much more units of commodity X. Okay, if fashion changes, due to that one also, that badly damages the entire demand for the products which usually became out of fashion. People never want to buy such products which are not in fashion. Okay, so all these things badly damages to the demand pattern of the customer, and due to that one, if demand falls down at the same price level, there is considered as a decrease in demand. Okay, thank you. I hope so you will like my video.